Came over the brow of the hill and saw the beautiful hills in the distance. I feel like we're at the top now, almost anyway. You can see all the way around for miles and miles and miles. So all these special places have always got such an incredible view all the way around. You can't quite see the distant hills over in the distance on this side. I can see them, but I don't know if they'll pick up on the camera. It goes all the way around. It's so pretty. If you focus in along this line here, there's a very prominent stone here, but in the distance I can see another 2, possibly 3, continuing in a line. So I'm thinking this is the stone row that we've got to. And as I was approaching it, I was hearing serpent energy. So I'm imagining it's like must have a ley line running through it. In a not a crisscross, swirling sort of left and then right and then left and then right, sort of crisscrossing in that regard. But in the very distance over there, I don't know if you can see, there's some sort of circular hill with the rock on top of it, and then right over here there's something else which looks very similar to somewhere I've been before. I can't even remember the name of it. There's several hilltops that I'm going to identify when we get home, the rocks there. But I'm going to walk along this stone row now, see what I get come through. Beautiful. So I'm hearing both king and queen. I'm sensing like an older couple, so sort of getting on in years, maybe in their 50s. Not really old, but kind of old enough to be wise. Sensing that they're battle-torn, battle-worn, tired. They came back here for their final resting place. On many journeys. This was where they wished to end their days. So they came back here knowing that they didn't have very long left to live. And they walked this line one last time. You can see the stones as we're going along here. So obviously this was quite a big row. It looks like a double row as well. You can just see there's like some larger stones, but yeah, it looks like there was once a double row. So it's a processional path, and some of the stones are triangular, and they kind of look as if they're pointing along here. You can see the points. It's so pretty here. I'm going to pause that there and I'll take a picture so it's more obvious. I'm told many years ago I walked this same path, so I feel like I'm connecting to a past lifetime. So this was a place that I came to, so perhaps that image that I'm seeing of the king and the queen, I feel like that was me. So what I'm told is your ancestors fought here with giants, so it feels like this is going to have been like a different dimensional reality, but on the earth, so a higher dimensional. So it would have been like when earth was in the 50, so because the giants were here a very long time ago, not in our, there's very little of our known history or sort of physical evidence, but obviously these stones were here then. See, there, I'm just going to turn the camera around so you can see them hopefully. This is the stone row here, like you can see my dog's walking down the middle of it. This is part of it. It feels like that stone in the middle that's pointing up in the air, it's the journey's end. That's what I'm told, journey's end. So I'm told beginning and end, because there is no end, and our ancestors knew this much more so than we do today. Obviously some people are aware, but not everybody. Look at this stone at the end here. This feels like the completion stone for the row, but it does look as if it carries on further, but somehow this stone feels significant. Triafqua, I'm hearing it's like a Trinity stone. It does look like a triangle, so it's got the 3 sides to it as well. I don't know if you can, yeah, it is. It's triangular, perfectly triangular. Feels like a significant point. And if you look back down here, that's beautiful, isn't it? And what I'm told is there is no beginning, there is no end. We're all in the now. And that's what the Triafqua, the Trinity, Holy Trinity, is symbolic of. It's been present within the now, and that is your infinite expression. We're like approaching what must be just like a stone circle. I was reading there was a cairn, but it does look like a stone circle. And that's at the end of the stone row. So wow, look at it, it's gorgeous. And from here, suddenly the landscape opens up and you can see in all directions, but it's kind of hard to see because we're facing into the sun. So I'm going to have to take a bit. So I'm just driving now, and I just wanted to complete the story because as I was leaving the stone circle, I sort of had arrived at the bottom of the row, and I'd walked up the hill towards the top of the row and to the stone circle, and then I'd gone back. I'd been guided to go to the bottom of the stone row first and then work my way up the stone row. So that would have been the direction that the procession would have taken up to the stone circle. And then from that point I could see quite a significant type of a hill with stones on it, and it just felt to me like that was a battleground, and I got the impression that that's where there was a lot of giant bones buried underneath it. I've never seen a giant's bone. I don't know what they would look like, but I think they'd be quite far down. Maybe sort of before the time of the mud floods, when everything was covered over and forgotten about. Because we've been through so many different incarnations of Earth, and many things have been covered up and they're just not known about anymore. So obviously, I mean, there's myths and legends of giants, and people don't believe it to be true because they don't exist anymore. But once upon a time they did walk this earth. That's my belief. Anyway, because they've come up in so many past life regressions, so it can't really be denied. But what I was seeing was that what I was told was, at that point, that there was a clearing for me to do. So I'd connected with the energy of myself that had been there at one time, that had lived there. And then what I was told was there was a clearing to do connected to the giants. And I could kind of feel the giant energy, like I could feel the giants trudging along. And it was like they had balls and chains on their arms and legs. And they were sort of captured, and they just felt really down in spirit. And so what I'm assuming is that because they'd been in a negative emotional state when they died, and they'd sort of not passed over and their souls had stayed. So I called in the angels to help them to spread their light, to go back up, and it felt like that was successful and that was done. And I'm told now, yes, it was. And then after that had happened, I just double checked that they were definitely gone, and I asked Archangel Michael to then cut the chains on their arms and their legs to make sure that was no longer binding them and holding them, and to help them back to source. So that sort of completed that. And then after that, what I was told was release the Kraken, I heard, and I saw like a dark bird, a really big, giant, dark bird that felt like really negative in energy. So it was like there was this energy, it was almost like artificial that had been created, and I was trying to figure out what it was and why they'd said that, because I didn't really want to release anything negative, but it was almost like it had been waiting in the ground, it had been poisoning the land, it had been, and all I was told was it was the manifestation of all the negative thoughts and feelings and fear and pain and all the nasty deeds and everything horrible which created this thing. So it's like we created it with our own negative energy almost. And what I was told was that like it had been broken up and pulled apart to a degree, and parts of it had been transmuted because it wasn't actually an organic entity, it was just a manifestation of darkness. Like people can kind of summon darkness out, they can create these dark monster type energies, these monster beings, just through their sort of divine will, if you would, because they choose to do that when anything is possible, really. So anyway, it was kind of ripped apart and broken up, and bits of it transmuted and disappeared and became nothing at all, back to source, I guess. But what I was told was it's going to continue to, like, parts of it will continue to disappear. It's like it will become less and less here and more gone, and it will gradually transmute and it will gradually vanish. Parts of it will be vanishing, in line with humanity purging its darkness. So as we're kind of releasing, as we're sort of learning and releasing our own darkness, like learning lessons, releasing our own fear, our own negative emotions about ourselves, our own sort of learning to love ourselves properly, which means that living like toxin free, not sort of filling our bodies with toxins is not loving yourself. So if you're smoking, if we're drinking, or anything that's not for our highest good will be sort of dragging us back into sort of an energetic vibration of no self-love. So to fully love ourselves, we've got to step into that space of just purifying ourselves as well, really. Just purifying ourselves and feeding ourselves properly and getting enough rest and doing nice things and all of the things that make us happy and balanced as individuals, and connecting to source, meditating. So everything that we do, if we are sort of in peak health because we're maintaining our health through our own conscious effort and will, so then we're loving ourselves and just speaking kindly about ourselves and not beating ourselves up about the past or blaming ourselves, forgiving ourselves for everything that we feel that we've ever done wrong or not done to the best of our ability, just knowing that we did the best we could at the time, etc, etc. And forgiving other people, is absolutely no point in holding grudges because everyone's here to play a role. People that play the dark roles probably have it hardest because they will at some point have to face every single negative emotion that they impacted upon other people. So if we can make that right now is the time to do it. And I'm sort of seeing somebody that I may have made feel like really negative, so I know that there's bridges for me to forge myself, that I need to make that right. I feel that I've made a lot of things right within my past. I mean, I think there might be instances in your now time where you sort of play a negative role for somebody, and that is probably for their highest good in a lot of times, because you're going to be the mirror to reflect back at them, sort of anything negative about themselves that they need to see. So just because you're momentarily playing a negative role, as long as you can recognise it for what it is, not hold a grudge, and then like make that right again with that person, and sort of you're going to be fully aware of the reasons and the implications and sort of how that has been beneficial to them and to you and to both parties maybe, or just to them, like you might have just like been needed at that time and you held the key for that. So whatever it is that you need to transmute at the moment, like don't beat yourself up about it, just let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, because that is, every time we're letting that go, that is going to be a part of that crack and that dark entity, that dark energy which is going. So it's almost like all of these sort of dark manifestations that have been done by black magic, by dark negative people, it's all been created from our humanity's fear, humanity's negativity. So nothing comes from nothing. So it's like as we're all releasing this, we're sort of releasing everything that we've created in a way. That's kind of, yeah, that feels like that's correct. Okay, so I hope that's really helpful, and the sound quality of this is going to be absolutely awful because I'm driving down a concrete road, so I may have to transcribe this and then read it back out again, but I just wanted to do it because it just felt like the time to do it. It was now I've just listened back to my video with the beautiful views that we had today, and it just felt like the completion of that message. So it just felt like that's important to get out to humanity. So lots of love to everybody, and I shall speak to you again. Bye bye.